Congratulations, Richard, on being #9 regional director in all of North America. I think this very well is the best month you've ever had, the month of July in your entire business. And this month will probably be even better. So I just want to start off by saying congratulations.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
And there's two things you're really good at that I think are the really the only two things you do in ACN, which is gathering customers and building teams of people. So I want to start first by talking about gathering customers and some tips you have for that. Okay.
Yeah.
So one of the first things I think for people that are watching this for the first time, many people know you, but the people that don't, could you give me a sentence or two on just your background before ACN?
So prior to my background, worked in the insurance industry about 16 years. Started off in Toronto, came to Alberta, did very well in that industry, but then ACN was introduced to me, made total sense, and just been loving it since.
July was, like I mentioned, one of your best months. You've become a top producer over the last year and a half, 2 years on North American charts. You were invited out to the LCC in North America from the co-founders, trained personally by them. You've also spoken on stages now with hundreds of people and trained a lot of people. So you've got a whole laundry list of results on your resume with ACN. I want to start with your customer acquisition because you're also a top customer gatherer. So where do your customers come from primarily? Like, would you say, warm, cold, social media, referrals? Is it a mix? What is that? How does that work for you?
It's a mix of a lot of different things. I actually get a lot of my referrals from current customers. I get them from people who've recently become customers. I literally signed up a customer yesterday and she referred me 2 people already because of what able to with. I also do use social media as well too. And also what we do is like when I'm just having a normal conversation with people, I just talk like normal. And then that conversation kind of comes up. I mention what I do, and they naturally just ask me, could you review my bill? Right. So but yeah, our team's been gathering a lot of customers because right now we're just there. Our goal is to help as many people as possible that need the help, especially with gas and electricity.
Talking about approaching people, and I don't expect you to give like a verbatim conversation with a customer that's difficult, but just generally speaking for the people watching this, how do you initially approach people about being customers? Giving us maybe 2 examples, let's say with a warm contact and then, friend or family member, and then maybe somebody that's maybe just an acquaintance or a coworker that you know from work.
Yeah, no problem. So with a warm contact, like especially in the industry right now in our Alberta, there've been articles and news articles and stuff on TV talking about the current rates for electricity and what the rates are going to. So I usually reach out to friends. I just ask in general. I just want to make sure you're covered. Do you know if you're on the RRO, the rated regular option? And I'm like, when's the last you reviewed your gas and electricity bill? Well, most people haven't because people just pay their bills. And they're like, I'm like, if you're on that, I will even send a video of what happened. And they're like, Richard, I need to look at my bill right away. So that's a warm market. I just do the direct approach and ask them exactly, if they are affected by it. If it's someone, could say, for example, cold market, that's where the natural conversation comes into place, where I just have a normal conversation, ask them what they like to do for fun, to like to travel, if they have a family. And we just naturally organically have a conversation. Then eventually that person will ask me, what I do. I ask them what they do. And then at some point it gets to where they're like, hey, well, if you do electricity, like, do you mind taking a look at my bill? And I said, no problem. Like, we just set up a time. If they have the bill on them there, because most people have it electronically on their app, right? They could just go on their phone. And I'll say, hey, just pull it out quickly. I'll take a look at it. And then I can give you an answer in like 2 seconds. And that's led to like many customers as well too, because when I tell them exactly what they have and what we can provide, they're just like, hey, when can we sit down and get this done?
Do you feel you have a niche possibly, or maybe is there a group that you find that you maybe have influence with, or is there maybe a group of a community that possibly that you've approached before that maybe you have a little bit more influence with? I think it'd be helpful for people to know.
Well, yeah, if like people, like for example, for example, pastors, people who have influence as well too, that want to help other people, because we're in a business of basically helping and serving people. One of my IBOs, she recently joined the business. She's like literally one customer from ETL. She's been in the business for less than a month. Her goal is to serve people. And again, what she reminded me that we're in a business to help a lot of people. So if you can find people who generally likes to help others and like to help people to, overall, those are kind of individuals I want to talk to. I also kind of think about narrowing it down a little bit by finding a niche market. For example, electricians, they're always in houses, they're installing new electrical stuff like LED lights. Most people are like, hey, my electricity might go up. How can I get that? How can I keep the cost down? That's a great referral partner for you. So just finding those small things like that will help you be able to help that person as well with their business. Because again, when someone in your network is trying to get some electrical stuff done, you can say, hey, well, I have a business partner or a friend that can actually help you out, and you can be able to refer some customers to each other that way.
So once somebody is interested in the service, they look at what you've got to offer, they see value in what you're offering. I think the next thing people struggle with is collecting a decision. I'd love to hear your tips on closing a customer, collecting a decision, moving them into a decision. Is there any techniques you use? Is there a method that you use on a regular basis?
Well, I think most people are afraid to ask the question, right? So that's the biggest part, because a lot of us are scared of rejection. When you need to, I think once you put yourself in a position to accept rejection, then there's nothing stopping you. So like, I'll give a key example for the day. I had a customer I was talking to yesterday, show her the information, went over to her bill with her on Zoom, and she just wanted to sleep on it. I said, no problem, we can connect tomorrow. She reached out to me this morning, asked me for update. Richard, has anything changed? And I said, well, we had a slight change in the gas, but it's pretty much close. It's no difference. But my question was, and just instead of leaving it at that point, I literally, next message was, would you like to move forward and get things set up? And that answer said, yes, I'd like to. So, but the thing is, if I didn't ask that question, the person would come on and say, well, let's do this right away. Because some people may say it, but not everyone does. But you do have to ask the question if they want to move forward and get it set up today.
When you ask that question, sometimes people have some common objections, and sometimes you may not get a yes, let's sign up today. Common objections like they might need to think about it, or they need more information, or ask a spouse, or they're busy at the moment, or just things like that. So if someone comes up with an objection, is there anything that you use or a technique that you use to help handle their objection and also help them continue to move in the direction of a close or a decision?
Yeah, because I find that as you start to develop yourself and become a leader, once you can find solutions for people's questions or problems, it helps you to come decision and close the decision. So if you could discover exactly what their concern is. So for example, I have to speak to your spouse. I offer like, hey, well, what time your spouse at home? I can go over the information with them again, so to understand exactly what we're doing instead of you trying to explain that bill. So I put myself out there to do the extra work to have that covered. If I have the question about any service or anything, I kind of go over all the details with them on the phone or actually over Zoom or in person, so that they understand exactly what they're getting. And I also let them know too that when you're signing up for the service, you're the one actually enrolling. I'm just gonna be there to assist. So you see exactly what you're getting. It's not gonna be over the phone. You just give me information. And a lot of people prefer that because they can see up front exactly what they're getting.
So I think follow-up's a big part of ACN. You've mastered that. That's kind of the reason why you're where you're at. I guess I'd like to, and everybody's different, but what do you use to follow up? What do you use to track? Are you a more digital person? Are you a more paper person? What do you use to follow up and remind yourself?
I am both. I do digital more now because I find with paper, I have 4 or 5 books, and then I might get lost in those 4 or 5 books because when I'm sitting on talking, I just grab the closest book close to me, right? So I also put reminders in my phone, a lot of reminders that I usually get alerts on to follow with someone. Like this morning, for example, I had someone give me a call. They need electricity, but it's just a little bit too soon. So I told them exactly what to do, but I can give them a call after, offer a better rate. And I put a reminder in my phone to give them a call at this time on Friday to set them up. So digital is definitely a way to go. And the reason behind that is that because your phone's always on you, right? You might have some paper you can write at home, but if you leave home, you forget about it. If you have a whiteboard, I have a lot of stuff on my whiteboard as well too that helps me keep track of that. So yeah, you can definitely do different avenues, but I like to do digital.
So someone that's never followed up before, done anything like ACN, been a business owner, entrepreneur, been in sales, they get nervous following up. They might feel like they're pestering their friends. Maybe they'll follow up once. They definitely don't feel like if they do it 5 times, they feel like they're annoying people. Can you give us an understanding of the mindset of somebody that follows up properly, and maybe some tips when you do that too?
Well, one of the things I learned when I was with my previous position is that in insurance is that you have to follow people definitely more than around 3 to 5 times to get a decision. Because again, when you think about people's lives are busy, things come up, different situations. What I normally do is I ask a person permission. Is it okay if I follow with them at this particular date. Once you get that permission, the person says yes, then it doesn't feel like you're bothering that person. Another way that I think about this business as well too, I don't think this is harassing someone. I'm trying to help somebody. I'm trying to help you put some money back in your pocket, get some bills for free, and also feed kids. So by, again, being able to service people, help people out, I don't think it that way. When I first started, that was in my mind. But after we noticed what we have in our hands and the significance we're making for a lot of people, it just me helping a lot of people that, you know, instead of spending so much money, they actually keep that money in their pocket. But it's definitely something that, you know, you do want to ask that person, you know, is it okay? And then on that second call, if they're not ready, say, oh, no problem. Is it okay if the following month? Then the following month, right? Until that person says, Richard, I'm fine. You don't need to call anymore. I will always put them a follow-up. I was a follow-up to get started in this business, right? So I just look at it that way.